And welcome to the podcast, guys, with Nando.
And Roberto.
All right. So for today's topic, we're going to talk about why there's many men single now and there's going to be many men single into the future. So what would you say a reason is for that occurrence? For many men to be single now and going into the future, a higher amount of men day by day, more and more single men going to be coming out as being single and not in a relationship.
So the most obvious thing that's changed in recent history is social media, right? Social media has completely changed how we look for potential partners. You know, the old school way was you would go out to a bar, cold approach a girl, talk to her, get her number, take her on a date, so on and so forth. And that worked for years. Some people still do it. Some people have some success with it. But what has changed? Social media has shown everyone a completely different lifestyle. You're seeing the most luxurious high-rise apartments, vacations, exotic cars, and all that stuff. So this is now a lifestyle that a lot of people, I think, dream of. And who are we talking about? Women, right? Women have more access to higher-end guys. They have higher-end guys sliding in their DMs. You know, obviously, we're not going to get too into it, but you have OnlyFans. So things have changed so much in recent time that I think guys are kind of just left not knowing what to do.
I think that, and not only social media, because yes, social media, especially Instagram, I would say that's huge for dating compared to Tinder or Bumble, etc. However, we'll add Tinder, Bumble, dating apps. See, the thing is that with the dating apps, they're used for men to try to start relationships, or if men are in a relationship and the relationship breaks apart, or the men are married and they get divorced, then they use those social media apps and the dating apps, more especially the dating apps. I mean, we have about more than 62% of men are users on dating apps. So what does that tell you? That there's way more men on dating apps than women. And that means that women are going to have an abundance amount of options just coming at them. Men approaching them, DMing them, or using Tinder and Bumble or Hinge, whichever dating apps that are out there. There's so many of them now, to ask these women out.
And, you know, the funny thing about dating apps is that the original idea was that men and women now had access to see people online, connect with them, start a conversation, get to know each other, go on a date, what have you. But that's not what it turned into. Just like Instagram originally started as like this app to take artistic pictures, and now it's really a dating app, in my opinion, right? What it started as and how it ended is completely different. So I think for dating apps, the original intended purpose was so that men and women both have this like equal chance to go online and meet people without having to physically go do it in person. What it's transformed to is, you know, guys swiping on every good-looking girl. He might get a couple swipes, but again, like most of the time, it's just girls getting that validation. And who are they going to really respond to and go on dates with? They're going to choose that very few, that small percentage of guys that maybe the blue check marks, or, you know, the guy clearly has money or the lifestyle that she wants, and then maybe she'll write back to him. But I think all in all, it's not really what it was meant to be. And I think guys have at this point pretty much given up for the most part on hoping that dating apps are going to solve the dating problems for you. They aren't.
Well, that's the thing, that men hide behind their computers or their phones with these DMs on Instagram or these messages using Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, etc., to try to get dates with these women and maybe a hookup. Who knows what it is? But the thing is that that's not working. It's not working because these women have so many options. They get so many DMs. I mean, I can't tell you the handful of women that have told me all the DMs that they get. I mean, you're not just talking of dozens of DMs. You're talking in the hundreds, maybe in the thousands. So, and believe it or not, more men use Instagram than women. By a small amount, about 52% of men use Instagram, more, and 48% of women use Instagram. So there's a small
The latest thing I'm
difference.
seeing now, and I'm sure you see this too, is something that they've kind of like started doing recently is now women will post, bikini pictures and whatnot on Instagram. They get guys' attention, and then you go to their bio, and that links you to their OnlyFans. So they now use Instagram as a marketing tool for their OnlyFans. And that's like, if you see a hot girl with like bikini pics and what have you, and you see a link tree, what do you think is going to be in that link tree? It's going to be her OnlyFans or other websites or whatnot that she might have. So Instagram, again, same idea. You could DM girls all you want and put fire emojis and stuff. That doesn't work. These girls are getting so much attention that I don't think most guys even really understand how the mass amounts of DMs and comments and options that they have. So that's pretty much out of the picture. Unless you are a higher end guy that has that lifestyle, and maybe you have a nice apartment in Miami and a nice car, and like she could kind of tell by your pictures. And I think that's why it's so important to have a good social media profile. Now that we're on the topic, it's really important. You got to have professional photos. Make sure you're not posting like bullshit pictures of yourself, because you're basically telling the world that your life story, like who you are.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, you're putting your profile out there. You want to put the best you out there. And let's face it, just like you said, Instagram is a dating app within itself. I mean,
Yeah,
right
for sure.
there, you have your pictures out there. You're following her. She's following you, maybe. And you have the opportunity to DM her. There's a little camera app within Instagram that you can kind of FaceTime her, but within Instagram. I'm not sure what that's called.
Yeah.
But you can pretty much video message her through Instagram. So Instagram is a dating app. There's a lot of guys taking advantage of it. But again, there's so much competition, and women are overwhelmed by all the choices that they have with Instagram, with Tinder, with Bumble, with Hinge, all these social media apps and dating apps. And because of that, women have the opportunity to be as selective as they want. Can't blame them.
And I think a lot of women nowadays, what do you hear a lot of now? Oh, guys do the bare minimum. We're not going to accept the bare minimum anymore. But they never really explain what the bare minimum means. They just say bare minimum. I think what they're really saying, if you translate it from womanese into English, they don't want your average lifestyle. They don't want to have an average car, an average house in the suburbs, and just live this kind of like la-di-da, like day-to-day lifestyle. They want, there's got to be something luxurious about it. They want like the nice house in the nice town, or they want to be in Miami, or you get what I'm saying? So lifestyle, that social media portrays all these like high-end lifestyles, and it's going to influence people through time, and women are far more easily influenced than men are, I think, in social media. And that's why when they say they don't want the bare minimum, this is what they're talking about. They want, where are all like the good looking women going? They're going to like Miami, they're going to LA, they're going to Vegas, because that's where that high end lifestyle is. And that's where the guys that are going to DM them are from, and they're going to show them that lifestyle.
Yep.
So going back to the original topic, like why are more and more guys going to be single? Because realistically, most guys aren't going to be able to compete with that at all. And that's why I think a lot of podcasts preach, like, try to become high value, try to increase your worth, because I think, if we're going to talk about like a dating strategy, that's really your best bet, is to just make as much money as you can and improve yourself to keep up with modern dating. So,
Of course. I mean, if you are the young guy living in the Midwest somewhere, let's say Salt Lake City, and you're hitting up a beautiful girl on Instagram, but there's a rich guy in LA hitting up that same girl on Instagram, who do you think she's going to be more responsive to, more receptive to? It's going to be the rich guy. So for all the men out there, you have to get your game up. You have to get your money up, your status up, your confidence up, if you want to even have the slightest chance to compete against those high value men, those rich
I would
guys.
honestly start with, like, we're talking about social media. And I think that's a good place to start. Like, before you actually fix yourself, at least fix your photos and like delete those old pictures from 5-6 years ago. Kind of rebuild your social media profiles, your Instagram, your Facebook pictures, like any social media where you have your pictures there. Don't just leave some old crappy pictures. delete them, have professional photos taken. Nowadays, you could hire a photographer. There's so many photographers out there. You could probably find one for like $100. Bring a couple outfits with you, shoot a bunch of pictures, and update those maybe like, I don't know, twice a year, so then they don't become stale. And at least you have a more attractive profile, because women are looking through your social media pages, and they're gonna disqualify you over the dumbest thing.
And they'll look to disqualify you within seconds of seeing your
Anything,
photos.
anything
That turns them off, they're going to be like, nope.
How you're dressed, your shoes, like things that, as guys, I don't think we take social media that seriously. That's why we, like, a lot of guys will have like stupid pictures up, because we don't take it seriously. But it's not the point of taking it seriously. Now, it's the fact that, like you said, Instagram is technically a dating app, and you want to have your best pictures up there. Just like you wouldn't go out on a date and wear your worst clothes and some dirty sneakers. You have to update your social media with the same thing.
Exactly. So for all the men out there, make sure you freshen it up, get some nice pictures up there. And if you haven't been taking care of your hair, take care of your hair. If you haven't been wearing the best clothes, go to the store, go to the mall, hop on Amazon and get some fresh shirts and pants and sneakers and whatnot, to really make sure that you're at the top of your game, well dressed, and go out and do different activities. Show that you're doing something, not just sitting at home playing video games, just eating, drinking, and doing nothing with yourself. So I think that's very important.
Which is why I want to get into the next point. So again, the original topic is why there's so many like single guys and why guys will struggle in the future. You brought up another topic. So low or lack of social skills, being socially awkward, introverted. You don't feel comfortable talking to strangers or being in a group of people. That's super important. You could have a lot of money and still be socially awkward, or you could be doing pretty well for yourself, have your own apartment, have a nice car, and still screwed up for yourself because you have poor, social skills. You're not smiling. You're not making eye contact. You can't articulate your thoughts, whatever the case is. So
there's many guys out there that are doing well for themselves. Rich guys, they have high status. They have it all going for them, except that when they go up to a woman and start talking to her, they have no personality. They don't have any good communication skills. And they're not, I would say, emotionally available. What a girl would say is emotionally available to them. So working on those things are very important, because women are looking for that. If they don't want to meet a rich guy who's kind of like, those
are the kind of guys that'll get used for money. It's like, you have money, you'll go on that date, or like she'll kind of pick you out on social media because she could tell you, she could tell that she could get something out of you. But if she meets you and you're socially awkward, she'll still stay around and kind of play games with you just to see what she could squeeze out of you. So I think, a lot of podcasts will talk about money and being high status, but it's still not the final be all end all, because I think the social skills are super important. I mean, look, there's guys that don't have a lot of money or what have you, or they don't have a good job, and they're still doing good with girls. But what do they excel at that most guys don't, is they have good social skills. They're funny, charismatic, carry a good conversation. They can work like a crowd of people. Those are all important skills.
They have a good personality, good communication skills. They're emotionally available to those women. So even if you're rich, it doesn't matter. You still got to have, what I would say is, game. Have to have game. Because if you don't have game, you lose. And then the game is really game over. So
there's a lot of good, useful information on YouTube. Like, you don't even necessarily have to pay for a program or anything like that. Just like go on YouTube and look up dating coaches, and there's so much free content out there that talks about this type of stuff more in detail. I would urge everybody to check that out, because it's free. I mean, you could just go follow a few different YouTubers that talk about like game or pickup or all those things, and you could take little bits and pieces from all of them and get some ideas.
Absolutely. Along with what we're telling you, definitely go on there and check out what's on YouTube, because every bit of information will help. However, you have to be able to implement what you learn. You can't just learn it and say you're going to do it but not do it. You have to take action. If you don't take action, you're done. You're done. She's not going to come knocking on your door. You're the one who has to be the one to approach. there's not going to be a woman approaching you to date you. So you have to have the social skills to make that happen. Learn, implement, and be successful at it.
Yeah, and I think you have to kind of go into it expecting that you're not going to like succeed your first few times. I think I said this in another episode. I think guys sometimes have to take those first few L's and make mistakes, and then you just kind of learn. I don't think anybody's born being good with women. I think it's a learned skill. But you know, again, the original topic is like why are so many men single? So let's highlight what we went over so far. We went over the social media part of it, right? Social media has kind of shown everybody these like luxury lifestyles. Women are definitely influenced by that, so that's where their attention is. Why do so many women want to travel now? Where did that come from all of a sudden? Social media, right?
Yeah.
They also want to go there and post and check in and take selfies in Greece and all that.
They want to give that fantasy. They want to portray that they are the woman to be with. And that's why all these guys are going to be hitting them up.
Everybody likes to travel, but they've taken it to an extent where it's just like, I mean, I know women that are going on like 5-6 vacations a year, and it's always to some like new country, and it's all about just posting. They'll be on vacation, and you see like 30 snaps and 30 Instagram posts in a row on their story because they just want everybody to know where they are. Look how cool my life is, and it's all just, you know, social media. Like,
not only that, but you have pictures from her by herself, but she's not really by herself. Think about who's behind the camera.
Yeah.
Somebody must have paid for her.
Oh yeah,
to
a lot
be
of
on
the
that
times
trip.
it's a guy funding the trip. Yeah, for sure. Or they're going on girls' trips, or a guy's funding. I mean, I know girls that like work like, you know, minimum wage jobs, and they're on like 5, 6, 7 vacations a year. I'm like, where do you think the money's coming from? They're definitely not paying for it unless they're maxing out their credit cards.
Very few women would be paying for themselves. It's mostly men paying for them, or
For sure.
they're there with the man that's paying for them to be there with them. Another one we talked about is the low skills, not having enough social skills. And again, if you don't take action, you're more likely to be single, less dating opportunities. It's just what it is. So you have to make sure you take action on not just the social media part of it and the dating apps, going about that the right way, but also the social skills. Very, very important. Before we get on to the next one, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, like our video, and comment below. Let us know what you think. We're doing, again, everything possible to give you the best. Again, on today's topic is why most men are single now and going to be more men single in the future. We're giving you what to be aware of and to understand this stuff so you can be one of those guys that if you want to be with a partner, you can, or just be in the dating market, you can do that and do that with ease. Make that as smooth as possible, and you can be happy. So we're here giving you our best. All we ask is for your support. We really appreciate it. And now on to another reason why more men are single now and going to be single in the future. What do you think? You want to take a quick guess?
Well, let's hear it.
Standards of a relationship. Women have high standards. It's pretty self-explanatory nowadays. They want the guy that makes a lot of money, that is high in status, that is confident, that is attractive, works out in the gym, that can emotionally open up to her, that is assertive, that pretty much has it all. So what can guys do to get the money, the status, the confidence, all of it, or as much of it as possible?
You know, what's happened is it's reached two extremes. It's like you're either, in their eyes, you're either like the successful guy or you're at the bottom of the barrel. Women don't really kind of mess with like the average Joe Schmo anymore. Yeah, there are some that do. I mean, you know, we're not talking about like overweight women or ugly women or, you know, we're just generalizing. But of course, there are going to be some women that are going to go for like the average Joe Schmo. And there's going to be guys that are going to be okay and date those type of girls just out of scarcity, right? They don't have a choice. So they're going to, you've all seen a guy like that, right? Where he's with a girl that's like not good looking or overweight or something. And why do you think that is? Because he didn't have a choice, right? But you were asking what guys can do.
Absolutely. What can guys do to improve themselves?
You know, I think going back to what we said before, I think how you portray yourself on social media is huge because what's happening, like, ask yourself, how are women finding these higher end guys? Where are they finding them? They're finding them on social media, right? The guy with the blue check mark, the guy with a lot of followers, you know, and there's all different categories that they could fall into, you know. Maybe the guy's a doctor, one guy's a finance bro or crypto or something like that. And I could tell by looking at certain pages that there's certain guys that are full of it. Like they're not really financially well off, but they make themselves seem like they are. And I think that's a powerful thing. That's the beauty of social media is you could, you know, portray yourself to be whoever you want. Women do it, so why shouldn't guys? So I think that's the first thing.
Perception is reality. So if you
how you're perceived on social media, unfortunately, this is where we're at nowadays. It's important.
Yeah, if you put yourself out there a certain way, a woman's going to look at you and be like, okay, he qualifies for what I want, so I'm going to go for him. And she'll respond to your DMs. Or if you're on Tinder, Bumble, she'll swipe right on you. Why not? But you have to not just talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. Because eventually, if you go on a date with this woman, what are you going to do? You're going to be like, oh, I was just kidding.
And that's the next part of it, exactly. Social media is one thing, but you know, once you start going on those dates, that's another kind of like roadblock that I think guys are kind of stuck in now. Is like women treat dates like it's a job interview. What are your goals? Where do you work? Da da da. Where do you have roommates? Do you live alone? Do you own a rent? Like, is this a date or is this you're interviewing me for a position or something?
A lot of times it seems like it's an interview. All these girls do is ask questions about the guy. Where does he work? What does he do? How much money do you make? All these things. It's crazy. So,
and I think the way to adapt to it is, and I'm seeing like dating YouTube channels. One that comes to mind right now is Tay Social. You know who I'm talking about? Tay Social is a YouTuber where he kind of like will film himself approaching women in the street, and he's really good. He's a good example of how you present yourself and how, you know, if you speak the right way, it's still doable. It's definitely doable. I think you just have to kind of adapt to how things are nowadays. I think a lot of guys still have like this traditional, like, let me take her out on a nice date and impress her, but you're one of many guys that are doing the same thing. There's nothing really special. So I think being prepared to answer those like questions and turn it around against her and turn it into something else is important, rather than just like, don't sit there and just answer all her questions, because it's a trap.
Of course. You have to show her that you're it, that you're the guy. You have to stick out. So
I would actually be honestly pretty vague on the first date. Don't give her too much information, because again, like you said before, they're looking to disqualify you.
Exactly. Anything negative, I mean, the slightest thing.
Give vague answers, laugh at some of the, you know, turn it into a job. You know, obviously you're going to probably have to answer some of them, otherwise she's going to think you're clowning around. But the point is, when they give you those interview kind of style questions, I think it's important to kind of, that's like a skill in itself on how to handle that to make it to the next checkpoint.
Not only that, though, if you can sniff out what she's doing, then it may also be a red flag to you, because you don't want a girl who's just there to suck the life out of you, just take advantage of you. So, you know, if a girl is just asking you all these questions like an interview, how much money do you make? What do you do? What do you plan on being, or where do you plan on being in the next 5 years? Things like that. That's something where you have to be like, okay, is this woman really here for me, or is she really here for herself?
The reality is, the better looking she is, the more options she has, the more selective she's going to be. She has a much larger pool. She can afford to be extremely picky. She has guys constantly hitting her up in her DMs, you know, offering to fly her out and take her on dates. So I think that's another thing that, I hate to say it, but like as guys, if you fall into like an average category, like if you really want to have any sort of strategy behind dating, I think you have to kind of like don't go for like the 9s and 10s, because you're setting yourself up for failure. Maybe take it a notch down to like the 7 and 8s and start with those before you try to get up to the 9s and 10s.
Problem is that even the 4s, 5s, and 6s
exactly
want the best type of men. And even those women, if the guy doesn't fit within their standards, then they're going to go on to the next guy, because even those ladies have men hitting them up, DMing them, swiping right on Tinder.
Women-
and they have all those choices as well.
Women influence each other, and like you said, those women that are like the 4, 5s, and 6s are influenced by the 7 and 8s, who are influenced by the 9s and 10s.
There's no 10s, though. There's no 10s. There's no perfect person. There's no perfect woman out there. Maybe 9.99, but there's no 10s.
Who do women look up to, right? Kim K is probably one of the big ones right now. Oh, Kim K this, Kim K did that, Kim K.
And not the best example, but
Not the best example.
Unfortunately, these women are falling into that trap that they have to look like Kim Kardashian. They're doing the BBLs, the fake eyelashes, fake this, fake that.
They look at her as a role model. Why? Because she's good looking. She has money. She's famous. Like, she has it all. So unfortunately, you know, that's a role model for some women nowadays. But the point is that, like you said, even the 4s, 5s, and 6s have this belief now that they deserve the best, that they need to get a guy that's 6 foot and successful and all that stuff, and they don't want to quote unquote settle. I just think for guys, you probably have a better chance, especially if you're starting at 0, to work your way up. Because I'm telling you, like, you try to go after like 9s and 10s, that's nowadays, especially maybe years before social media, but now that's a very you're either going to go broke trying, or you're just going to waste months of your time.
Gentlemen, at the end of the day, you have to focus on working on yourself. You have to be the one. You have to be the guy that the women are DMing, that are swiping right and messaging you.
Modern women will play you. I'll tell you straight out, modern women will play you. The good looking, like the hot women that have like endless options, they will play you. They will identify what it is they can get out of you, free attention, whatever resources they can, some couple dates. That's it. And you're gonna think you're getting somewhere, but you aren't. She's just stringing you along. That's it.
Even if you're in a relationship or you're married, eventually something goes wrong and she'll break up with you or she'll divorce you, and she's going to have those options. Don't you think women that are in relationships or that are married are being DM'd or messaged all the time too?
Yeah.
Nowadays, that's just the way social media works. And unfortunately, it happens. It happens. And sometimes some women gotcha, bitch. They get caught. So breakups happen. And then, you know, what happens to you? I mean, they can go on to another guy because they have options. Even if they were in a previous relationship or they were previously married. But what happens to the guy? That's why at the end of the day, gentlemen, you have to make sure you work on yourself. Get your money up. Get your value up status-wise. Work yourself hard in the gym. Don't do drugs. Don't do stupid crap.
Something I'd like to add real quick. I think it's a mistake for a guy to try to just talk to one woman at a time. Like, you connect with that girl, you go on a date with her, and that's the only girl you're talking to now for the next 1 to 2 months. I think it's a better strategy to talk to multiple females, or at least try to talk to multiple females, because now you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. Like, putting 100% of your time and focus on one woman nowadays, the way things are, it's a mistake, because she's doing the exact opposite. You're focusing on just her, and she's getting attention from like 5, 6, 7 guys, and she's communicating with them daily. So what you should do the same thing. I don't think it's a smart idea at all for a guy. They call that spinning plates, where you just kind of like try to. I'm not saying you're going to be dating 5 girls at the same time. I'm just saying, like, don't just focus on one. DM another one, and get some connections on Tinder or what have you, and at least you have a few different options. If one's better than another, one girl flakes on you or ditches you, you have another option. Not just like, oh my God, this is my one and only option.
That's why, again, guys, work on yourself. Don't be the one doing the chasing. Be the one who's being chased. And on that note, we're going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you for, again, supporting us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the notification button. We are here for you guys. I know we're going to get some hate, but hopefully the majority support us and understand where we're coming from. We're coming from a good place. So make sure you support us, and we'll see you guys next time. We are the podcast guys. Peace.